I'm sure you're beaming with pride right now. Just tell me, your thoughts of having her back here and just her growth as a player over these years.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, anyone that knows everything about volleyball or knows nothing about volleyball can see that Jordan is very talented. I think the prideful part is that as a player, she exemplifies everything that you would want out of an athlete as far as a coach. I mean, she's the ultimate teammate. She's poised, she's graceful, she's competitive, and she's not afraid to show that competitiveness. She brings the full package, and I think that's why she is the face of the USA, right? And I think she's going to be the future to our Team USA. And how could you not be even more proud of someone that gets the work ethic and just is a person of such high character and the caliber that she has. I think it's really easy to lose yourself in that. And if you know you're all that and you know how much better you are than everyone else, sometimes you can lose that sense of character. And she is, she brings the full package.
Coach Alvey, I know that a lot of athletes, struggle because they didn't have family and friends and support systems over there in Tokyo. Were you able to talk to Jordan, especially during her injury? And if you did, what were you able to say to her?
Yeah, I was. I really, I think that was the hardest part of, even as her coach, I wanted to give her that space because I know how it is for us when we compete. And just when you're on the road to a conference match, you're pulled in so many different directions, and it really is just about the opponent. So you take that on the highest stage possible, and you're in complete and total focus. And I would think, 20 out of 24 hours of the day, everything is about your next opponent. So I really tried to limit communication, and I didn't know who else was reaching out to her. But I certainly, after every match, I really just, before she got hurt and even after, I said, hey, you stay true to yourself and stay the course. That's all you do. You stay the course because you're there. Now, you can't veer away from who you are and what you've done to be successful. And then, when the injury happened, and I'll let her maybe share a little bit more of that, she did, her Jordan she's a teammate and she's do everything she brings to the table, but it certainly was very, very difficult. And I just tried to share with her that you're in this position for a reason. We may not know what that reason is right now, but you're where you are because that's where you're supposed to be. So you do exactly what it is that you're supposed to be doing, and it will all come together, And afterwards, I kind of shared with her like, hey, you understand, Team USA is not in that gold medal match without you. They're not. I know as an athlete, like that's where you want to be. You want to be in that match, and it's hard. And but there's no way that team is in that match without her. And I think the whole world knows that. And she has a future. I mean, that's the best part with Jordan is she's just beginning, and her future is obviously very excitable and bright.
Hey, Coach Alvey. Neil Meyer with the Front Office News. We talked to Jordan ahead of the Olympics going to Tokyo. Just talk about your relationship with her when she came to Cincinnati, because when I asked her previously, she said it was the jackpot coming here. She really praised the coaching staff you guys have going on here.
I think what we try to do, I mean, we try to target top athletes across the country every year, and we really feel like once we get them to campus, we're in a really great spot. I mean, our campus is beautiful. It's absolutely gorgeous, and the academics here are outstanding. So I think once you can educate people and get them to see Cincinnati and what it's about, it's easy to sell our product. And, the one thing that we really hit with her and that we do with our other recruits is that, hey, when you come here, we're always going to communicate very clearly with you, and we're going to be your family. This is you're coming here to compete. We're going to push you. We're going to make you a better player, but we're also going to try to help you be the best person that you can be when you leave here, because not just her profession, but in her relationships, in her work world, want her to be great. And we just really tried to share and be as genuine as we could be as a staff with her. And I think that's what she wanted. And I truly do believe what we were able to give her from that support side, and it really helped build her confidence and turn her in, to the player that she is today. That's a great question.
Coach, kind of building on that, I know you've had a chance to see Jordan, and the team's had a chance to see her, but talking about that family that she has here, to have her be a part of a game day atmosphere and environment, to have the rest of the UC family have a chance to see her, to show their appreciation. How excited are you for you just that whole environment that's going to be here on Saturday?
I mean, it's, we think of her as family, right? It's kind of like your daughter coming home and you're walking around, and just to see, anywhere we are, we met her at the airport, surprised her at the airport when she got here, and just the people coming out of the cracks at 10:30 at night and CVG coming up and asking for pictures, and, to see the excitement around the building, and for her to be home. Like, I think that's something special. You come home and feel that pride. This is a funny story because a couple days before she had gotten back, her husband Blake said, "Hey, listen, can I come grab all her things?" I said, "Yes, please." Like, it's like the basement of your parents' house, all the stuff that you've left there forever that, hey, just come get your stuff. So we're packing it up. He's looking at me like kind of quiet. And I said, "Well, it is. It's kind of, like it's my players, like someone I've really been connected to, my child for 5 years. I know her mom would be appreciative of that and understand." And she's taking all her stuff home. So that's the feeling that you have, she's in this global spotlight, but she's one of us, and I think she represents herself that way too. She's a Bearcat.
I asked you this before the games. I feel like I should ask you this now, considering what happened in Tokyo. You're obviously building something special here. How does her success help you build an even stronger program?
Yeah, I think just the recognition to the name, so there's two separate pieces to that. When you watch the Olympics and the announcers recognize that, and you heard Cincinnati over and over and over again. I mean, how special is that for all of us to hear our name, across the worldwide spectrum? But I think to Jordan and who she is and how she shares her story helps as well, right? Because you can really, if you don't know Jordan at all or you don't know our program at all, you feel how connected she is, and she said it pretty plainly. Hey, you don't have to go to the Big Ten to reach your dreams. And we feel that same way. And those are the type of athletes that we recruit. We think we can do that. And, certainly we've shown that in the last few years that we can. But I think just that exposure to just have the looks like, hey, wow. And then to have someone really show their connectedness like her. Because you don't always get that in athletes. There isn't always that connectedness of where they came from and, their relationships that they've built.
Coach, what kind of memories and emotions were triggered for you when you were watching her compete in all those matches?
Oh, man, I'll tell you what, there's a couple of things. I think of the day, like when she first got here and just how much she's changed. She's always been a pretty coordinated athlete for as long-limbed as she is. She's always been pretty smooth in her movements. But I think to look in, what are we, 6 years out, 6.5 years out, and the power that she's bringing, attacking right now, and just the force of her body that she's getting into the ball. She's jumping better than she's ever jumped. I really wanted to pull our old jump stats to see where she was as a freshman, because I think that's one skill set and just what she needed to work on physically. Her jump was okay for her athleticism and her size. It was okay. It wasn't great. Which maybe might have been the reason that she got looked over a little bit. I certainly thought with her physique and how she moved, that's something that could have been improved easily, and she did. To watch her blocking, we always tell our freshmen when they come in, hey, when you get to college, now you're playing with the best of the best. So the game's a lot faster. They're playing a lot higher. Everything just happens. Well, there you go. You literally are playing with the best of the best. And I mean, she said, oh my gosh. I mean, blocking my head is like, da, 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 da. Like I have no idea where to go, seeing things so fast. So watching the maturity of her game in such a short time, I mean, that's those women that she's playing against. I mean, some of them you saw are almost 40 years old out there. And volleyball really is a skilled sport. So you can be super talented athletically. So you could think about this in the athletic games. Some athletes that are really talented and not quite have the skill level, it doesn't win you matches at that level. When you can be athletic and skilled, you're dangerous. The skilled athletes are what really elevate it to a whole nother level. So I think watching that, I think of the times I have this memory, and she won't care that I share this. It's like etched in my brain. There's nothing happening. She's playing middle back in the middle of a practice, which is not her position, right? So Jordan was the right side when she came to us. We started her on the right side. We put her on the outside. She dominated. She goes back to Team USA. She's a right side, right? So then she goes to her professional team where she's doing great for them, and they put her on the outside. So she's been on the outside this whole last year and a half and just steps into Team USA from May till they left in June as a right side and is one of the best players in the entire Olympics. I mean, just imagine that in any other sport. It's really incredible. So she's standing in middle back, and all of a sudden, the corner of your eye, you see this like stutter, splat, and it was a splat. She hops up, arm straight down. She said, I don't really know what happened right there. I'm going to get back into my defensive position. But, one of those moments of a 6'4", lanky kid that just gets a little tripped up in her feet. So I picture that young Jordan, and then you watch her out there, and you would never dream that that day happened in her college life. So it's fun to see her.
Hey, Coach, you mentioned her playing outside, switching to right side. From the volleyball standpoint, how would you say that impacted her game, knowing the outsides can see the court a lot differently than compared to the right?
It's a great question. We had talked a lot about this. She came to me when it happened. She said, hey, listen, I have a great contract in front of me, but it's not for the right side. They want me as an outside. How do you think, I should handle that with the national team coach? Because obviously the Olympics were her goal. And I said, hey, my immediate thought is it's no question. You go play the outside because you're exactly right. You're going to see the game from a totally different perspective. You have no choice but to have to be able to ball control as an outside. You have to pass. You have to play defense. It's critical. At the right side, they can hide you a little more if needed. You don't have to be in all the serve-receive patterns. So I said, I think it's a no-brainer, but I think you share that with him. This is part of your journey now this is your profession, right? You're no longer a student athlete. This is your profession. That's a conversation. I think you call up your national team coach and say, hey, this is what's on the line. What do you think? And it was one of the best things she had ever done was to take that job and go play on the outside. It just elevated her game tremendously. And I don't know if you noticed, but there's a certain rotation when she comes to the front row and she's in left front. They used to hide her, and she would run all the way across the back line and come around and hit right side, but now she stays and just hammers the ball on the outside. I think it's elevated our Team USA. She can terminate on the outside, so it gives the team a little bit more flexibility from a strategic standpoint.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah.
I think the one last question I have,
Yeah.
just touching on the fact that we're hosting Pitt tomorrow, we're honoring Jordan. 2019 was such a memorable year. Jordan was, pretty much a huge impact that year in leading the team to your guys' first ever Sweet 16. What's it going to be like tomorrow, honoring her, knowing that the team that you guys beat in 2019 is going to be here also?
Yeah. I mean, I think, let's be honest about that. I don't think that Jordan got the recognition that she should have in college, in the sense that, well, it's your league. Who are you playing against? Can she really do that on a national stage? Those are the little side conversations or side snippets. I think anybody that knows volleyball would know that that's not a true statement if you're, well-versed enough. So I think for her to do what she did so close to graduating puts a stamp not on her, but on this program, and our conference is incredibly impactful in volleyball, and typically, right in the 6th best conference in the country in volleyball. And we schedule like no other. We have Kentucky on our opening weekend. We're playing the national champions. We're not afraid to play anyone. And it's the same way we scheduled when we had Jordan here. So I think for her to be able to come home and now, everyone see like, wow, it is legit. Everything that she did in this court down here is legit. She put her stamp on it at this Olympic game. And, I think what's special about Pitt, I was thinking about this the other day, because we always think, hey, we beat Pitt. They were a 6th ranked team in the NCAA tournament. On their court is huge. But I think what sometimes gets missed too, Pitt was the number 1, number 2 team the entire season. The entire season long, they were between 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, 1-2. So they unfortunately didn't get the draw that they wanted in the NCAA tournament. And we get a 6th seed, which is pretty tough, but to go into a team that dominated the entire NCAA for the whole year and to beat them is it just doesn't happen, and anyone would say this in basketball, volleyball. We have a very similar, our tournament draw is exactly the same. The path that you get really does in the tournament. Your draw determines your fate sometimes. You get the right draw, you can go pretty far. You get a tough draw, and it's, there's nothing you can do about it. So I think to get the draw that we got and to have faced Pitt on their home court and just an incredibly talented program was awesome. So now, we get to have them come back. It's the perfect match that you play going into playing Kentucky. We're playing at Dayton. So Dayton, always a tournament team, 20-plus wins. Texas State, it's actually a Cincinnati native that coaches at Texas State, which is kind of cool. Always a 20-plus win. team. It's the exact right program that you want to play to kick off your season, you know, and you go out there and you battle them point for point and you let them make you better. We make them better too.
As a coach,
Mhm.
so, I mean, kind of Jordan aside, what are you hoping to get out of this exhibition tomorrow?
You know, it's a good gauge to see where we are, you know, and we've put a lot of emphasis on from .00, we're going to go out battling. We're not going to step in, kind of take a gauge, see what you have to bring us. We're bringing it to you from .1. So to do that against, you know, I think athletes in general, depending on what name is across the jersey, might temper their approach mentally to a game. So you set them up. Hey, it's Pittsburgh. Everybody in the country knows Pittsburgh's good, so let's see what you have at 0-0. I would like to see what we have at 0-0. I think we're incredibly long at the net. We're longer than we have been in a very long time. So we have some tall bodies up there. We have a lot of firepower. We're going to be pretty evenly distributed across the net. So I think that's exciting. And I think we have some really fantastic ball control. So if we can put the ball in the right place to get our high flyers the ball, it's a good gauge as coaches, you know. And I think as a player, I mean, you know, it's amazing because you're back in your normal routine, but these players haven't seen competition in 2 years. You know, we played a spring season, but it was 8 conference matches against 4 teams. How can you really, you know, and you're in, then you're out, then you have people out because of COVID, then you have people out because of quarantine, and you're constantly shifting. And I think just the mental load that you have to take, they're still feeling that today. I mean, we forget about it because we're back in and we're competing, but they definitely still have, you know, there's just a little inner turmoil because their last memory is COVID year. Their last memory isn't 2019. So I think this is a good match to say, hey, that's all gone. You lay it on the line. This match doesn't count. You go out against a great team. They're coming out against a great team against us, which is exactly why they wanted to play us. They knew they would be challenged. And, you know, play point for point, see who the best team is.
Hey, Coach.
Oh.
Piggybacking off of what Megan said, talking about her 2019 season, we saw she had 50 kills, knowing she's only, one of the 6 people ever in NCAA history to do that. Talk about that performance, seeing she put out 34 points in the Olympics.
Yeah.
Talk about the performance, like, what did you see as a coach, how happy for you?
Yeah, and that was a record both men on the men's and women's side, right? Yeah, I go back and forth of like, I'll catch myself saying, wow, that's really unbelievable. And the other side of me goes, is it really? Like, is it really unbelievable for her? Because I just think she's that talented. But I think even more, you know, I've told her this so many times, she can do things that no one else can do. You can train your whole life. You can hit the gym harder than anyone else. There are certain things that she's going to do that other athletes just can't do. She's so naturally gifted. And how often or how rare is it that you find an athlete that gets it and has the work ethic behind it and commits to it? You know, there's a lot of athletes like that, but the mental side is almost more impactful than the physical side. And I think that's what makes her special, you know. Is it surprising? I mean, I do think it for her first Olympics, I am kind of like, wow, damn, that's pretty good, right? You know, but I think too, like, I believe in her, you know, and how much more is to come, and she believes in herself and she puts in the work for it. That is really, I like that question because it puts a good perspective on it.
Awesome. One more
Yep.
question from me, if you don't mind. Talk about what it's like having somebody with Jordan's name being thrown around as one of the best in the world. What's it like then having her on campus the last 2 weeks with the younger class and the team you have?
So exciting. I mean, it's amazing, you know, and we've had even recruits around that, you know, you see them do one of these like, wow, you know. I mean, it's just great. And even staff members, it's not even just young people coming in like, wow, let me see that gold medal. You know, I think it's like an excitement, but also just like so much pride from everyone, like just that feeling of having pride, you know. And I think of UC as we're such a major institution and such a major athletic department, but I always think of us as having a little grit, you know, like if you're at UC and you're successful at UC, you have grit, you know, you're going out and you're working at it. You have all the resources that you need, but you're putting that grit in there. So I think when you have a whole department full of people like that and you bring someone like Jordan back, it's really prideful. All that work that you put in and the grind that goes into being at UC, she just brings all the pride out of everyone.